uh, pass away, that nothing's going to happen when they do. There you go. We got our YouTube audience back up here. So, but people are thinking that it's actually going to it's going to affect them somehow, and that's not the way it how the way it works. And it's the way you need to understand final expense uh, is this isn't you know the thought isn't about what you're spending money on or what you're purchasing, so to speak. This is 100%. It isn't about you. Okay, so this is about the people that you say that you love, and because when you die, and you're gonna have to forgive me, I'm a little bit, as you could say, I'm a little bit straightforward on things, but this is going to be clearly about well, like when you die, and we know 100% know that you will. Somebody's gonna stuck it cleaning it up if you haven't taken care of it. Now, here are the stats. The reality of it is that 70% of human beings have not taking care of a final expense plan. Okay, so what? And this is all around. The numbers actually get really high in a lot of scenarios, but 100%, someone's going to get stuck with a bill cleaning it up if you haven't made a plan, and you're not leaving any piece behind by not doing so. You're just going to leave behind a bill, and that's our reality. Is you're going to leave a bill behind for somebody, right? So right now, flat out, type plan right now in the chat. If you haven't handled it, if you haven't handled it, type in plan. Okay. So I just want to tell you one of the stories that I was able to hear today of a father who just waited way too long. Okay, his name is Thomas. He was 63 years old. He was healthy. He worked in construction. He always said, I'll basically get to it next month, or I'm just going to wait. Right, and that's kind of the way that it kept on doing. It kept on waiting, and 2 weeks later, after he started looking into a little bit here and there, he had a stroke and just died. Right, his daughter had a Max cards. She had a skip rent. Bills were tight, to say the very least, and her response after that was, I hated my dad for that, because he kept on looking at it. I found out, as she said, I found out that he started looking into this stuff, but he thought he was good and he thought he had plenty of time left. And this is the thing, is that's what it is when you look at the correlation. It's 70% of the people that pass away are the ones that thought they had the time. They thought that they had enough to go around, that they could say, I could take care of this. And here's the reality, is that no matter what the final expense policy is, something as even as a $5,000 plan, just put it in the easiest terms that possibly can. Okay, if you were to pass right now and you look at your family and you go, can that family member afford 5 grand? Can they just afford to just go, I'm out of it, I don't care, it's not going to bother me? And I'm going to tell you that with certainty, at least half of them, it's going to hurt them. Just look at some notes here. 57% of families suffer financially after a death. Okay, these aren't made up numbers. You can look these up yourself. No matter where you want to find them at here. 70% of funerals have no plans, and the debts go to the survivors. 39% use high interest credit cards or loans, and most of them are going to be about a year and a half to 2 years it's going to take for them to pay it off. So it's not like it's just done. And I can promise you something else is, I guarantee you they wanted to spend money on something else, not your death, not because you didn't take care of it, not because you didn't do the one responsibility that you're supposed to do, which is take care of your life. And and here's the thing too, is that it's never expensive. I can promise you this: when you're young and healthy, younger and healthy. And by the way, young is always yesterday, meaning just yesterday, and also today. Young and being in good health, because it is going to be more affordable. I can promise you, in almost any scenario, it is less than $1 a day, less than $1 a day to get coverage that would put people in a position where their family is never going to be left a burden. That they're not going to be wondering, like what's what bill am I going to skip? Because 28%. Here's the other thing too: 28% of people get crippled from anxiety from funeral bills when they do pop in, and not only that too, but 14% of people skip bills permanently to pay for the debt because somebody didn't take care of it at $1 a day. It just this is what blows my mind. It's just $1 a day is what you're talking about, um, and then 53% of people still feel the burden of a death and the financial burdens that go with it years later. Okay, so I'll say this: when you look debt plus grief, that's going to equal trauma. As a matter of fact, type no debt if you get it, and also to some other things that I put together here for this year, because I wasn't going to be able to remember every single story, so I had to get some of my own notes for here. But there was a guy named Marcus that. And I can't be putting out their last names here for obvious reasons, but the guy named Marcus, he had a policy and he dropped it because he wanted to save what was $38 a month. Now think about this: $38 a month. That's $1 a day plus like a nickel. Um, the guy unfortunately got cancer, and in that moments, because of that, when he wanted to go back onto insurance, it costs a lot more. It costs a heck of a lot more. Okay, so and it wasn't very much longer that unfortunately he had passed, and it sucked. But his family had to scrape together $2,000 just to get the very minimum done for him. There's no service. Uh, Family members never got a chance to say goodbye. I mean, just first of all, think of that for yourself, of how empty that would be, knowing that there was no one at your funeral at all. There was no one there. Nobody could do anything about it. Um, I mean, and I'll say, if you could afford Netflix or any of the streaming services, type "cover me now." Because you're one of the people that could definitely look into a plan and find something that fits into the budget. Because here's the other thing too: is when it comes to final expense, this is the thing: is this is the some of the most affordable insurance you could have that's going to take care of your family when you're gone. Because remember, just think: can anybody in my family afford a minimum of $5,000? Can they afford it? Okay, if they can afford to just drop the check on it, cool. But if they can't, what happens? I mean, they're going to get you're not going to have the funeral that you want. You're not going to be taken care of, and your body be taken care of the way you want it to be. It's going to be a tough situation for you here, and your family's the one's going to suffer too, because they would want to have done something right, but if you want a big funeral and there's no payment for it, it's just not going to happen. So, you know, one of the things that I like to hear, that I hear a lot is, like, well, my kids will figure it out, or I'm sure somebody will be able to help out. But, you know, like, figure out what, like, which card to max out? Is that what it is? Like, is that the way we're gonna look at it and say, find out? Yeah, we're gonna have somebody, one of my kids, do something that I could have done for them, or how do I find $12,000 in 48 hours? Um, I mean, I could just say, if you have kids, if your daughter or your son, either one, doesn't matter. If they can't cover $12,000 funeral right now, type plan, type plan into the comments, because what it really costs, final expense coverage starts under $30 a month in almost every scenario. Uh, and no exam, no blood, just a plan, that keeps your family from starting a GoFundMe in your name, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to do a GoFundMe. I've watched. I believe I have now 12 friends that I went to school with, they're gone, and every single one of them had a GoFundMe that was started for them. And the only reason GoFundMe's get started is because when people find out that there isn't a policy in place, what are they going to do? They're going to have to do something, because they're going to want to do this for their friend or their family member. Um, so just I'll say this too. Um, if you're still breathing and you're broke, we'll just say you can fix this. Type plan now. There are options for it. Like I said, there's something that is there because 70%. I'll keep going back to that. 70% of people do not have final expense plan for it. They don't have it. Okay, that's 70% of them here. So everybody that's on here, you're gonna see that you're gonna have at 7 out of 10 people don't have a plan for it here, and people barely have enough money to pay bills. We hear of people are so concerned about losing all these all the benefits that they have for not to go into a political realm here of what's coming up, but people are concerned about losing their health coverage and stuff with the BBB, the big beautiful bill. Again, I'm not going political on it here. It's just it is what it is. But people are so concerned about that, and that's the type of money that you're worried about here. Well, at less than $1 a day is something that could fit into everybody's budgets. Everybody could afford what we have, what's available there for, when it comes to the final expense. So I mean, I just want to be clear here too. Not necessarily looking to scare you, but the reality is that people do not plan for this stuff, and they always wait. It's something they're going to get to. It's something they're going to eventually, take care of before it gets too late or before the time it happens. And then when they do, they get hit with a bigger bill, and they're going, "Wow, this is a lot more expensive than I figured." But I can tell you here, just looking at my numbers. I mean, there's no scenario right now. I mean, unless if you're in terrible health, okay. If you're in good moderate health, you're looking at a maximum $2 a day, and that's if that's if you're about 75. Um, so and again, it's a big excuse me, that's a one second here. So whatever here, trying to get this stuff off, trying to clear things, clear some of the stuff off. But again, this is something that I never thought of, and I know most of my friends don't think of here is that what happens when I'm going to pass, and that is a thing that people don't want to deal with. They don't want to think about it. That's all that they want to do is just go about their day to day. And the reality of it is that we're going to pass, and I think you're just literally last week, two streets over from my house, there was a horrific accident. It was in a neighborhood. There's two people that had passed. I can promise you they didn't wake up that morning because they were, I believe it's 49 and 56, the two in the one car that had died. They did not wake up and think they're going to die that day. Okay, and it's just a reality here is we have to handle our business and say, all right, so if I know that if you look at this scenario and just think to yourself, I have a 70% chance, if I haven't taken care of my final expense right now, I have a 70% chance of leaving my kids, my beneficiaries, however you want to say it. I have a 70% chance of them having to come up with $5,000 on a minimum here. Or if you really want to actually, when you go to the numbers here where you say, you know what, I want to have them taken care of and go up to like a $25,000 plan, even with that, you're not looking at a big financial commitment for anybody. All of them are going to start, like I say, they start at about a buck a day, up to $2 a day in a worst case scenario, and that's going to cover almost everything when it comes to a funeral. So you can actually have a good funeral. And the difference when you see what somebody looks like when they've had their funeral is paid for, meaning the beneficiaries, that the funeral that they're attending, they've already lost somebody. This is already hard enough the way it is, and now they're going to have that taken care of. That the person who passed actually had a plan in place, and they're able to mourn. They're able to grieve because they're not thinking about the money. I go back to that first scenario that I talked about uh, with Marcus and his and knowing that he could have or not Marcus, excuse me. Oh boy, just forgot Thomas. Thomas, where his daughter ended up having to come pay for everything, going into debt and being able to having to struggle with bills because of the fact that, and how afterwards she hated him for it. I mean, it's, as she had said, it was a it was never a great relationship, but it was okay, and okay enough that she didn't expect anything like this. And when this happened, it felt like just like a slap in the face to her. And these are things like, I just look at everybody that's been on here, and it just gives more validation to exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, is this a fun conversation to have, or a very fun topic to talk about? No, but but the reality of is that these are things that you have to deal with, and that's what we'd like to do is just scroll on by. We like to scroll, and I'm not going to pay attention to this. I don't need to listen to this right now. This, stupid fat guy on here telling me about need insurance here. He better have some. Well, believe me, I do. But you have to come to, big boy girl and big boy world too, of saying, I need to handle the stuff that's going on in my life, and I also need to handle the stuff that when I'm gone, because it is going to affect somebody, and somebody's going to have that bill, and nobody's going to want to be told. If you have kids in the family, if the kid is actually a little bit more well off than the others, and they all turn to him or her because they have the money, then it is an absolute nightmare. It's the families never get over what happens when a final expense plan has not been taken care of. Now, you're not going to care, right? Because you're gone, you're dead, but you got to take that with you, knowing that you didn't do anything. All right, and I don't care if you were to go with me. I mean, you could certainly go with me. That's great. But go with anybody, any life insurance agent that's licensed. You talk to them, and you find out what's going to be the best plan for you, because this is serious stuff that can't be ignored. That you have to you have to actually have the conversations with with your family. Let them know that, what, I have something in place, or I don't have something in place here. And I'm just looking at this. And I just want to say, from the first one here, Sandra Hines, thanks for the DM here. Yes, and I'll definitely be able to reach out to you. And also too, when it comes to here for quotes are free for here. I'll do that, no problem. But I want you to know that if you could afford any of your streaming services, you could afford a final expense plan so your family doesn't have to. Because it's the value that they're going to have from that. Sarah, Nita, thanks for joining me here. But getting covered is so important to people, to make sure that hey, Cosmo, Kenzie, the the fact that, hey, Tyrone Ellis, thank you for the DM. Yes, um, we're gonna we'll be able to get everybody on here, and I can't meet with everybody fast. Sarah, thanks for joining me here. But the reality is when you're able to get a quote, at least you have an idea for it. And you're taking a step in the right direction, because again, it's less than $1 a day, $2 a day at a very maximum, and that covers a family that you don't ever have to think about. Are they going to have enough, right? And I can promise you, the more you put it off, the more you're not going to do it. It's just plain and simple. Thinking about it does only one thing, and just makes you forget about it. If I had if I had a nickel for every time I heard think about it, and they actually meant that they're going to think about it, what that just meant is they're not ready to deal with it. And one of the things too is that you might agree, or excuse me, everybody agrees with the message, but you might not agree with the moment. The timing might not be there for it where you want your perfect scenario. Again, the coverage goes, for final expenses, typically about $25,000 to cover a funeral is what they want. And when you look at the 25,000, that's like where they just want to give a little extra, so then the family has something afterwards, or the beneficiary has something afterwards. But you only need typically from $5,000 to $10,000 policy, which again, they're only about $1 to $2 a day. And if that resound, if that, if that's something that's, you know, that you definitely want to have the information on, you want to know what does it actually really look like. Number one, you could, like I said, you could DM me plan, or heck, you could go right to, right to my website at krisneupauer.com/life, and you can fill out the information there. I can promise you, I'm not gonna harass you. If you say you want me to talk to you, I'll talk to you after the first time. If you don't want to do anything, I leave it on to you, because the last thing I want to do is be bothering anybody. But again, just thinking here of like I said in the beginning, at 63 years old when Thomas died, his daughter was not expecting to get hit with a funeral bill, right? And she said, yeah, because once somebody stands up and says, hey, I'll pay for it, they pay for it. And she suffered financially. Okay, 7 out of 10. I remember this too. 7 out of 10 burials and funerals do not have a final expense plan in place. These are just the numbers. So you just know that you have a good chance that you think that you're to look at your beneficiaries, knowing that you could say to them, you know what, if I haven't taken care of this, I'm part of the 7. Now, if you have, fantastic. And if you have, always shop the rates to see if you could get a better rate once you've had, like, after the first year, like in the first year, let it alone. But just shop the rate to see, because rates always get changed by insurance companies. So you might be able to get something that's a little bit better. Or heck, maybe you're not in the best of health when you take it out. So maybe you were, in your 4th year in remission of cancer. Well, then you can qualify for a better rate after that because you're cancer free. But always shop those rates for it here. But when it comes right now, like today, if that interests you, you want to know more, DM me. Like I said, DM me plan, and then we'll be able to. I'll reach out to you. We'll be able to find out, only if you want to. If you don't want me to reach out, I won't. If you just want to know numbers, but like I said, the numbers aren't going to change much. Of $1 a day or $2 a day, depending on your age. Once you get to, let's see here, once you get to about 65 years old, at 65 and above, it's $2 a day, and anything below that is guaranteed going to be about $1 a day. And that is going to give again, that's only for a $5,000 plan. But most people, when they hear that too, they say, well, it's a $5,000 plan. It's really not a lot of money. Well, that is true. It's not a lot of money because you're not going to buy anything with it. But if you ask any of your family members and you say, hey, look, if I could leave you a plan of $5,000 for my funeral, would that be helpful to you? And I can guarantee the answer is always going to be yes. If you ask that question, if you say to them, well, should I buy some insurance? They'll probably just say no. But if you say, hey, would you like me to leave you $5,000 or $10,000 when I pass away? And I can promise you they're going to say $10,000. But let's just say what's most important here. If that's not in the budget, then you only do a $5,000 plan. At least it's $5,000 they don't have to come up with. And just think to yourself right now. Just think to yourself, if you got hit with the bill, your mother or father, brother, sister, whoever put you down as somebody that was going to possibly take care of the funeral, okay? And you got the bill, and they said, well, you know what, they want to do a cremation. It's only going to cost $7,000, so you got to come up with $7,000. Well, if they had a $5,000 policy, well, shoot, for the beneficiary, and that was you, I guarantee you'd much rather come up with a way of finding $2,000 than $7,000. Okay, so, and that's the same thing. But and again, you look at just the numbers here. If you're going to have a really, really, really nice service, you're looking at about $15,000 is what you'd actually need for the to cover it all. And again, that's it's not even really expensive for that in almost every scenario. But when you look at for yourself, and again, in that scenario, you look at mom or dad and say, hey, mom, dad, or brother, sisters, you say to them, listen, I need to know, do you have something in place? Because I just heard a guy, and as a licensed professional, telling you these are what the rates are. This is what's going to help out when we pass and when we go. So DM me plan if you want to just get information on what are the costs and what are the companies. And it's not just one company that I'm working with. There are multiple different providers here, so I'm going to find the best rate also for you too. At $1 a day, it's really, as long as we don't have big restrictions on it, like a 2-year waiting period, But that's things you get more education on. That's about, I'd be happy to be able to give you that, give you some more information on that stuff. Because, again, the reality of it is that Carl Jenkins, thank you so much here. I'm sorry. Let me go through here just real quick here, just some of the people that have actually DM me for more information. So we got Sandra Hines, Marcus Velez, Brittany Caldwell, Tyrone Ellis, Rachel Monroe, Jasmine Tate, Leonard Price, Kelly Duggan, Isaiah Coleman, Tasha Rivers, Carl Jenkins, Mia DeLeon. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Let's see here. What did I just leave off here? Jamal Brooks, Nicole Winters, Marvin Drake, Teresa Boone. All yes, I'm going to make sure I get all the information to you guys here, and also I want to say thanks to for just taking that first step to be able to find out who is or to make sure that your people are taken care of. But remember, 70% of funerals do not have a plan in place for them. That people don't have a plan, and it's 70%. So their beneficiaries are the ones that actually have to take up all the costs. And again, the numbers, they don't lie. 50% of families suffer financially after death. 57%. So that means if it's not you, it's somebody else you know. It's unbelievable. It's either you or somebody else you know is going to suffer financially. Um, and 39% of them that are going to suffer are going to use high interest credit cards or high interest loan. And 53% of the people feel the burden years later, not just, months, years later. I mean, heck, 1 out of 10 skipping a bill permanently to pay for the funeral. Imagine that thought. You're the extra bill that made them go, I can't afford anything else. But you could have. Buck a day. Buck a day. I can't stress it enough. And again, not here to scare you. I'm here to stop one more family from suffering. Okay. I mean, there's no. I'm not looking to put pressure on it here. No, just a pitch. Excuse me, a truth that this is going to be something you're not going to avoid because we're all gonna die, every one of us. And if you already have something, I'll review it for you too. Review it for free. And if you don't, let's get you protected. Okay, so just final thoughts here is just either DM me, plan, info, quote, review, whatever. I'll know what it is, which one it is. And those of you that stayed with me here throughout the whole life, thank you so much here. But do something because grief hurts. But grief plus debt, that's a whole different kind of pain. So just want to say thanks for joining me in here too, and I'll be happy to, or I'll be coming back on here again. Here you'll see me, but just understand that we think we have so much time. We think we have so much time, and we really don't. We have such little time left. Again, you just look at this. You think to yourself, if you're 50 years old, like I promise you, if any of you are 50 years old in this life, you have less than 25 years left. It's just our reality. When's the day coming? We don't know. I don't know when my day is coming. I know that my family is protected when I do. I go to bed at night with knowing at least that if something like that happens, are they taken care of financially for the rest of their lives because of that policy? No, that policy is just for the funeral because it was affordable. It's $1 a day. I mean, it's like, come on, it's easy. It's not even a thought. But the reality is, if there isn't anything there, I know that my daughter, my son, I have 5 kids, none of them could afford to be all on my wife. And yeah, she'd be able to handle it. But isn't that my responsibility? Isn't that your responsibility if you're part of a couple? Take care of the other one so they don't have to worry. I mean, that's That's the right thing to do, isn't it? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. One thing I know I'm not wrong about, they don't have to suffer. Because, again, when you have the suffering and grief together, that's a recipe for trauma. And who wants that? Who wants to be thinking about the fact that their loved one, this person, whoever it was, that they were, that they love so much is now gone. And it's the hardest day of their life. And there's resentment now towards it because they had to actually pay. They had to pay for them dying. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's the best thing to do. If you just want to know, I can promise you this: there's no hard sell, there's no pitch. Show you numbers. You want to know exactly what's going to DM me plan. Be happy to be able to get back to you. If it makes sense for you, you tell me that you want to go further, but it's not going to cost you more than $1 a day. I could say with absolute certainty that a final expense plan will cost less than almost any service that you're using right now. And this is going to be something that your family is going to love you for taking care of, and not having to go, wow, mom or dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle just left me with a bill, and they could have taken care of it for $1, because you'll know that too. You'll know that they had access to that type of information, and they never took the advantage of it here. 7 out of 10 funerals do not have a plan, and then it turns into, again, a big a big nightmare for that person, because you look at any of your family members and just ask it in the simplest way, like I said before: could that person afford $5,000 to $10,000 to bury me or cremate me? Because then people say, "Well, I want to get cremated." Well, fine, that's $6,000 to $8,000. Okay, or you want to do a green funeral? Okay, now you're looking at $3,000 to $4,000. Do they have the 3 to 4 sitting around? No, they probably have it for other things, for big financial emergencies, right? Like, the house, the roof goes, the water heater goes, the transmission goes. Who knows? The head gasket goes on it. None of them have the money sitting around hoping that somebody's going to die so they can spend the money on it. That doesn't happen. Octavia, thank you for joining. It just doesn't happen. None of the people that we know are setting aside money for us to say, hey, when they die, I got this money for them. Nobody does it. And people think way too late to think about their burial expenses here. Again, you're looking at, if you're 40, 45, or I mean, you could go 40. If you think about it here, at 40 years old, if you live to your 76, there's only 36 years left. When are you going to buy it? When it's last second? It's easier to buy it when it's cheapest, when you're youngest and you're healthiest. It's just when it makes sense. And again, you want to know, you want more information, and you just DM me plan, and I'll be happy to be able to give you the information on it, or review a plan that you already have. That's not a big deal to me. All that's a free service. I'd be happy to do for you. But you don't want to sleep on it. I can promise you, just with the people that I've seen and talked to, the people that buy the most insurance that I find for the burial expenses are the ones that went through something that they said, yeah, I had something happen where, like my father died, or my mother died, or uncle, and I got hit with the bill, and I did not want to have to see that happen with my kids or my loved ones. So I wanted to make sure that I took care of business, because that's the right thing to do. I took care of business for $1 a day. That made sense, but those are the ones, like I said, but they didn't do the bucket. They do a bigger amount, because of the fact that they've seen what it was like to go through, the pain, and the suffering of, man, I got hit with a bill, and it could have been avoided, and I didn't need to go through it. So, and again, feel free, go to my website, KrisNeupauer.com/life. That's Chris with a K, KrisNeupauer, /life, and you can fill out the information there. We'll get back to you really, really, really quickly, and be able to tell you exactly what the numbers are, and if it makes sense, perfect. You make yourself you get yourself a quote, and we get started pretty quickly. But on the other side of it too, if it doesn't make sense for you, hey, it doesn't make sense, but at least you know. At least you tried. You took a step forward and you said, "I'm going to look at something." So, uh, again, I just want to say thanks so much for joining in here, and I'm going to say goodbye to you, YouTube. Here, thanks so much for joining in, and get it if you found any of this beneficial. Obviously subscribe to the channel, or you can also push it out there and share it to anybody. That's great for people that just might need to know about this stuff, especially just think about the platforms they're on. They're on TikTok here, like I'm talking to you right now. They're probably not going to find a lot of the like 50, 60 years old here. But like here for YouTube, you're going to find some people that are going to be looking for information. So pass it on to them, because it's that important for them. So